Good morning, you guys. We are Nick and Zoe Baker with Chestnut Hills Farmstead, and we are not on the farm today. We are in Milton, Florida at the Gulf Coast Homesteaders meetup of 2022. This is the second annual,
I believe, yeah.
And we did not film much yesterday, so we did a lot of just hanging out and seeing everything that was going on. And so today we're going to take you guys with us as we go around and visit and do some networking.
That's right.
All right, we will see you guys in a minute.
We're at Milton, Florida at the Homestead meetup. Come on. Why did I touch it?
Yeah, carefully.
Careful.
You like that one? Yeah. Look at that big old dragon. Isn't that cool? Mom, keep up. Walk with Daddy.
Mom, you want to go there?
We're going that way.
No.
Hi.
No, you're going to get any boots. Come here.
Come here.
Wait a minute.
Can I go there?
In a minute.
You can look. Go ahead. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great.
That'll be good.
Little Grammy Marshes. Huh? Teaberry Farm. Ooh, at all the plants. Transplant medium, crushed eggshell, peat moss, compost, and Dr. Earth.
Dad,
What, baby?
I can't stop.
Ooh, I see
You can't
goodies.
stop getting in the sand.
I don't want to stop in the game.
Holistic Regenerative Herb Farm. A Trix Bar.
In a minute.
Trix Bar.
Sure. It'd be $4. Would you like a spoon with it? All right. Make it a little bit easier to eat.
But I'll definitely be back today. Not today and probably buy another one tomorrow.
Okay.
Oh,
I
yeah.
appreciate it.
You looking? Yeah? Okay. Oh,
No girls allowed.
no girls allowed.
That means you're down.
That means I'm out. Mama's out.
Mamas are an exception.
You would want Mama in there,
You
wouldn't
wouldn't
you?
let Mama in there.
Yes,
you would.
How are y'all?
Do you like Skittles?
Percy said thank you. This should be right now.
Don't spit your gum out.
Put your gum in the thing there. Look, he just There you go.
Gummy and Mama. He's probably going to do it for later.
She's got more.
give him
I got it. Thank you. I've been telling Nick, I said, we're going to know we made it when we get a freeze dryer. So,
Are you going to get one?
eventually. Oh, I like the little bitty. I have not seen this little size. Nick, look.
Find them anymore either.
Look how little.
I was telling her I think that you and your son need the Gone Hunting pair.
Oh.
It's a daddy and a son right
Oh,
there.
that's cute. I like that.
Where are we going?
Look at those dream catchers.
Hmm?
Dream catchers.
Yeah.
Come on. Look. I bet you can smell it. Can you smell that? I bet it smells good. Smell it. Smell it. Smell.
Just smell one of the sachets up here.
Smell that. Yeah, I was gonna say that's not either. I'm not smelling good or it's not super strong. Yeah, that's lavender.
That smells good.
Smell.
I love lavender.
Smell it. Okay, no. They don't ever cooperate when you want them to.
That's how it goes.
It is a rose.
But
Oh, that's so pretty.
This is the first school we had to spin fiber into yarn. And what I'm spinning right here is
Well, you'll have to ask. What's her name? Joy? Hey, Joy. You guys were in your... over there a while ago. I wanted to talk to you guys. We've got an Aussie named Bandit. And he's a hard worker.
Ma, he can stand up.
That's Joy. It's a girl. You can pet her.
I can't.
You can. Look.
Because
Say hey. Look, you see Piper?
Look.
say hi to her.
Go see her.
Piper, sit nice. Piper. I said thank you.
Yes. Go say hi to Piper.
I want to pet.
You can pet her. How are you? I'm all right. Yeah.
Thank you for my good looking hat. I'm breaking it up as far as I can.
I need a hat.
I love it. I love it. I need it.
Well, now we got to build a 30-minute episode.
We haven't made it to I'm going to try to do classes tomorrow. I wanted to do the goats and I want to go do the yes.
But I don't know anybody there.
What are you doing? Strike a pose.
We do.
Okay.
We
Aim. Okay, that's great.
We are relatively new to the whole homesteading thing, right? Which I think there are lots of folks that have gotten started with homesteading in the last few years.
I want to talk about how to get things to like you and how to get a chicken to like you.
Yeah, so you don't want to miss that. Eleanor, can you let everybody know how old you are?
6.
6, yeah. Eleanor is 6. Jacqueline, you going to tell them how old you are? I'm just kidding.
I just had a birthday.
She did. And I remembered. I'm going to talk to you more about specialization if we talk out here, but...
All right. Let's do that again. Can I get another big call from y'all? My tagline is wisdom without the hogwash. The reason why I created that tagline is because I got so sick and tired of looking at all these YouTube videos about all these different people that didn't know anything about kids. You're almost like, this doesn't make any sense. How are they doing that? Why are they feeding them this? And then you go to another channel and you're hearing all this conflicting information. You don't know what's up or down, left or right. Easy, right? When it came to pigs, they broke me. They broke me of this sense of pride and arrogance that I had about farming, and they helped me realize that I don't know everything.
Building a YouTube channel, building a following, I kind of fell into this homesteading community. Ended up in Southern Oklahoma. No one that lives on a farm walks into Walmart and says, we live on a homestead. That's just not the terminology in Oklahoma.
To start with, we were kind of outgrowing our farm. We were, you know, we had 7.5 acres, but 1.5 was
Probably 4 of it was back behind
That's
the
mine.
house.
in the cemetery.
And the family cemetery. So that left us with what?
All right, stop. David. We're going to stick with the Gulf Coast Homesteader Meetup tradition.
Okay, you guys, so we are back from the Gulf Coast meetup. We've been to the farm, we've checked on all the animals, and we are settling in. And so we thought we would go through and recap with you guys about our trip and a little bit about the conference that we just attended. So we'll start with Friday. We got there Friday and immediately we went out and visited all the vendor booths.
Yeah.
Is that what we did?
Yeah, I ran across a few people we knew as we went in and just wanted to see what the vendor section looked like. And I think there was a presenter that was actually talking as we were entering, and we went on through, so we didn't disturb that part and went on to the vendor section.
Right, we had Mackenzie and Rhett with us, so we needed to scope out the place before we got started. And so we walked around. We didn't do a whole lot of videoing. We just kind of checked everything out, saw the vendors, let some people meet Farmer Rhett.
And one of the first vendors we ran into was our buddy Jason from Cattywampus Acres.
Right.
We've met him several times and really enjoy visiting with their family. So he and his daughter were at the booth, and that was one of the first ones we had to hit up. He was you can see that signature cowboy hat from across the entire vendor area.
That's right. So after we saw them, we got to meet Perry Hill in person. You know, we followed Tracy with Just Dig It and saw her episode with Perry Hill sisters, and so we got to meet them, and they are a hoot. Mm-hmm. They are good people. Their husbands actually taught the what was that called?
The pork processing.
Yeah, the pork processing class.
Mm-hmm.
And
you know, they had a large family farm presence there. They were kind of taking shifts with the booth, seemed like, because they were doing some presentations and walking around meeting people.
Attending. Yeah,
they were kind of working in shifts there, so they had a large group from their farm, and that gave us an opportunity to be able to talk to them and visit a little bit.
Right. So as you see earlier in our video, we showed you that we did get to see a blacksmith doing his blacksmithing.
Yeah, there was a wood carver there, and there were, you know, several people with handmade items and, you know, different craft things that they've made. And one of the booths that we really got hung up at was the freeze-dried candy.
Yes. So I've been, for a long time, telling Nick that we know we made it when I have a freeze dryer, and I still currently don't have a freeze dryer. So we're not quite there yet, but that just kind of sealed in the deal that I need a freeze dryer, because what's better than candy is freeze-dried candy.
It was pretty good. And we watched the live, and Jason was talking about it from Cog Hill, was talking about the freeze-dried Skittles and peanut butter bars. And
right.
I hate that he missed out on the freeze-dried bit of honey, because that's my favorite. But
well, they're probably gonna stick some in theirs now.
Those are candies that we don't care for outside
normally,
of there.
right?
You know, Jason and I were talking at the conference. He's like, these two candies, peanut butter bars and bit of honey, I don't like either one of them regular, because they stick in your teeth. But freeze-dried, they're awesome.
That's right.
So after we left the freeze-dried candy, we decided to head in. We had a few minutes before Port Ryan was doing a Q&A session, so we ran into Gene and Tracy from Just Dig It and A&W Mini Farms, and got to visit for a few minutes. And Daniel and DJ were out and about. And, at this conference, they were not swarmed with fans. They were actually able to actually walk around. And
I was just thinking it was great that they could come, being the big presenter. They're the big names in this YouTube and homesteading community, but they were able to just walk around and enjoy themselves. They weren't having to hide and be ushered in and all that to avoid. They were able to walk around. They got to do vendors. They got to eat lunch. Whatever they wanted to do, they were there, and they were able to participate.
They still had people stop and want to talk naturally, but because you don't get, a lot of people don't have the opportunity to see them all that often. And so there were still people wanting to talk to them, but, they were standing talking to cameraman Ron and some others, and we got to visit a little bit, and Gene and Tracy were talking to them, and it wasn't a standing in line kind of thing, and
right.
It
was casual conversation.
That's right. And I know it's a smaller event that's just getting started. This was just the second one, but it was a good event. It was a lot of fun. Dusty Goat Homestead and Hidden Oaks did a really good job putting it together.
Yeah.
But you had people there that were to see the presenters, and they weren't just YouTube fans that showed up randomly.
That's right.
So Daniel didn't seem to have to deal with as much as, somewhere else where he may have people standing in line for 2 hours. And, Saturday, Jason and Brooke would have been the same way, just had people standing in line for hours to see them. And they actually got to go, we had a chance to eat lunch with them on Saturday, and nobody was swarming around their table, interrupting their meal. At the Pedals event, I don't think they even got to eat that day.
That's right.
So then we got to go in and see Pork Rind.
Right.
And
it was a Q&A session.
On pastured pork.
Pastured pork, yeah.
And really, I was interested to see it being the way it was set up. Is it wasn't going to be a presentation. It was going to be strictly answering questions that came from the audience, and there were a lot of questions about breeds. And we're pretty settled on our breeds.
Right.
And most of the questions were answered based on what the people were trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
And based on what we're trying to accomplish, I feel like we did the correct research, because the breeds he was recommended is what we have.
Right.
So we're concentrating on the heavier meat breeds instead of lard breeds. Lard. L-A-R-D. Lard.
I thought it was large, L-A-R-G-E, all weekend.
So we're already concentrating on those breeds, but there were some questions that were asked, and I took some best practices from some of his answers. And we actually sat through the Q&A session with Port Ryan again on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, without it not being a presentation,
you didn't get a repeat.
Right.
Right.
It's not the same thing being said again. You may get different questions.
Fresh questions, yeah.
And that right now is a big interest of ours.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big focus on our farm is our pigs. So I wanted to get all the information I could out of it. But we closed out the day on Friday with Daniel and DJ Arms.
Mm-hmm.
And
just talking about their why.
Yeah, their reason
mm-hmm.
for why they did it, how they got started.
Why they homestead in YouTube.
You know, a lot of people there, something I noticed, they're not really into the YouTube side of it as
mm-hmm.
much.
I would say it was a third.
So that
were YouTube focused.
Yeah. So, you know, they put that out there as to why they do that, and
mm-hmm.
I think that there was some interest in that because these people were mostly there on, you know, going to these lectures on gardening or goats or pig processing, things like that, and I don't think they had really, there were a lot of them that were not venturing into that side
mm-hmm.
of it. Right. So after Daniel and DJ's presentation and,
mm-hmm.
Of course, more visiting at the end, and I had to sneak Daniel a hat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I told him, this is not for a channel plug. I just want you to have the hat. I hope Cassie watches this because there's been a lot of videos with Cassie wearing the hat.
That's right.
And that Rhett loves that.
He does. So, every time Rhett sees Cassie wearing the hat, he says, she's wearing our merch.
But I had... I did sneak him a hat and a sticker up there. Didn't stand around long. There were people wanting to talk to him naturally. And I said, hey, I just appreciate your willingness to help
mm-hmm.
and answer questions. And he's always been very gracious when I send him a message and responding. And that's just along the farm and YouTube thing. He and Jason have both been mentors of mine, whether
mm-hmm.
they wanted to be or not.
That's right.
And Jason's a lot more openly close by mentor, but I really have patterned a lot of things after the way Daniel does his, and not just focusing on one thing and just, you know, being in a rut. He just does his thing his way.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to watch, fine. If you don't, fine. But he does it's Arms family because he does the family thing. It's not just one thing or another. And I think that's kind of what their presentation was. So that's where I wanted to leave it. And
mm-hmm.
then we went on to dinner. And we picked, I don't know who picked. I have no idea who picked where we went.
I think it was Rachel.
Maybe, but she recommended a Mexican place there in Milton, and we had a group that was going, and I think initially they had a group that was going, and we got there and combined them, and we had 35 to 40 people trying to get into a Mexican place. So
on a Friday night.
Yeah, on a Friday night. So the Gulf Coast meetup kind of took over the Mexican restaurant in Milton, Florida.
It was really good, too.
It was good, but took us a little while to get in, and Rhett was over it.
I think he was hangry.
Well, he had a very long day.
With no nap. Well, he took that little short nap on the way to the restaurant.
Well, for a 3-year-old, that many people, that much stuff going on, a lot of people trying to talk to him, and he didn't know them. We didn't know most of them, you know, but there were some people there that recognized him and tried to talk to him.
And he got to see Houston.
He did get to see Houston.
But he was so nervous, he would not talk to Houston.
For the second time, we've actually been at events with him 3 times, but that's his second time meeting Houston.
Yeah.
And it was the same reaction. The first time, Houston tried to play cars with him, and he hid behind my leg.
Well, every time Houston walked past him this weekend, he would duck and hide. Houston would smile at him or kind of glance at him, and he would hide. He was like, or he got upset one time because he was with Mackenzie, and Houston had walked by, and he said he got very mad at me because I was not there for him to tell me that Houston walked by.
Yeah. And he would tell you, there's Houston, and I said, well, talk to him, and then he would hide. But after all that, he finally was okay once he got some chips in front of him. And,
yeah.
By no surprise, Tracy broke through to him. As ill as he was, we were having dinner. We were at the table with Jean and Tracy, and she just made him talk to her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So she just kept talking until he responded, and she finally broke through to him, and
then everything was good in his world again.
Everything was fine. And I wouldn't even try to get through the list of all the people that were in that restaurant.
I couldn't tell you everybody.
Every farm that was with us. Port Ryan was there at dinner, and
he was.
Dusty Goat, and Perry Hill, Cattywampus, Just Dig It, A&W Mini Farm, Money Pit Homestead.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh,
I can't even tell
the
you.
The list is endless, and if I
try
to name them all, I would miss it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to miss anybody, but God, there was a room full.
Yeah. Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday.
We left Rhett and Mackenzie with Pop and Nene.
Well, after the day he had,
well, we came to the conclusion. Friday we made him go.
Yeah.
And we came to the conclusion that we did not need to make him go again because it was way too much. It was just a lot for his little mind and his little world because Rhett's not around a lot of people. And to be in that situation for that many hours was not good for him.
And they were going to do the trick or treat thing at church and things like that. So he
had plans,
have his own little festivities and do kid things Saturday. So it was just Zoe and I, and naturally we hit vendors again, but like I said, we went to Pork Ryan's presentation and Stiver's Homestead, and but you started out the day
with Head Family Farm
with our friends,
yes,
Zach and Jacqueline and Eleanor with egg genetics.
Yeah,
which I was very interested in. I didn't just go sit because it was them doing it. I was interested in the genetics of egg colors and trying to understand how that worked, and I did learn a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And Eleanor had a great stage presence. She insisted on hurry up and getting to her part.
She did. She had Goldie, her little Sarama chicken. And Goldie sat in her lap or on her shoulder while she colored her coloring book, while her mama and daddy did their presentation, so that she could do her presentation of how to get your animals to like you.
And I did tell her that she needed to come tell me how to make my baby pigs like me.
Yes, and she said she was going to visit them when they come to the farm next week.
Right.
So maybe she can help us get our pigs to like us more. So after Head Family Farm spoke, we went out to the vendors area and just kind of wandered around and visited with people, and then took lots of pictures with all our friends and
got a little bit more video and made some purchases, things we didn't want to just have to drag around all day Friday with Rhett. So this is when we went back and got our jellies and stuff from Perry Hill that we knew we wanted to get, and you know, and some different things. We got banded a new lease from working Alcie's Homestead, and some stuff that we had picked out. We went back and made the purchases, and we actually got to spend a little more time looking at Perry Hill stuff, and got to have lunch with Jason and Brooke, and
that was some good lunch. I couldn't even tell you what it was, what the food
I
truck
had some
was,
kind
but
of
it
chicken
was really
sandwich
good.
with a citrus dressing on it. It was pretty good, and you know, just got to visit a little more and spend a little more time without having to keep Rhett rounded up.
Right, yeah. It was a nice, just no rush, no plan.
And that's when we went back inside and watched some of Stiver's Homestead and got to meet them for the first time. So then we all just kind of gathered into our little corner, as you saw on the video, or what corner, but we had our own little cheering section, and you know, right across the aisle from us was Daniel and DJ and cameraman Ron and Emily and Houston, and we all gathered up for the presentation by Jason and Brooke.
Right, where they were the last ones to present, and they kind of ended the whole conference, and you know, Jason talked a little bit about different things that they've had going on, and
naturally they told their story too, of how they got where they are, and kind of how it happened, how the most recent things happened with getting the new farm, and stuff like that. And you know, again, you saw a lot of the crowd would thin a little bit when those feature speakers got up there, because
they're
not following it on YouTube. They're doing it. There were so many people that we met this weekend that are not homesteading. They're trying to learn how to get started, what to do, what are other people doing. So they were listening to presentations and lectures, but when it came time to your feature, that wasn't what they were into, and
that wasn't part of their world.
And there were a lot of questions about that. There were a lot of people there that, hey, I'm just thinking about starting a garden or getting some animals and raising chickens, or I want to raise pigs, and hey, what's this YouTube stuff about?
Yeah.
I was surprised by that, but there were a lot of people there that are not doing any of this. And you know, that's kind of where we started. YouTube is just to keep a record of what we're doing. What we're doing is about our family and raising our own food. That's what we're focused on. And the YouTube was secondary, and a lot of those
property.
Yeah, a lot of those people haven't made it to that thought process yet, or haven't been exposed to it. So that was kind of new. As far as gatherings we've gone to, that was something that was really different about this one. Is this is kind of at the ground level of people getting started and trying to learn, and it was actually something that was good to see.
So we've wrapped up just about, you know, what we did and saw, and who, what, where, wins, and
really briefly.
Yes.
Yeah, we hit pretty briefly.
We did. There's so much more we could say, but you know, we really enjoyed our time, and for us, it's always worth it to go to these events, no matter how far we're having to go. This one wasn't near as far as what we've been to, but it was definitely worth it, and I'm glad we went. We'll be going back. It's always good to be able to be around people who do what we do, who have the same mindset as us, who we can bounce ideas off of, or just kind of share interests with. So Nick's gonna attach some clips, some pictures that we've done over the weekend for you guys to enjoy.
And before we leave, I want again to say thank you to Dusty Goat Homestead and Hidden Oaks Homestead. They really did a good job with the event. I'm glad that they've started an event that's a little closer to us, and I really hope to see that grow, because it is a big part of networking and growing your community. And that's what this is a community. Something that Zach said got me tickled. He says it's funny to have to drive so far to see your neighbors.
That's right. Yeah.
But it is what it is. But that the networking part of it and building that community is a great resource for anybody that's thinking of doing any kind of homesteading, raising their own food, and just a resource to learn.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you guys check out some of the fun we had. We hope you guys have enjoyed going along with us on our journey, and we will see you guys next time. What you got to tell them, Farmer Rhett?
Thanks for watching Chestnut Hills Farmstead.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.